Hello there. Sean and I are having burgers tonight, so I'm on salad duty. So what's the point in this video? Well, my YouTube bio says running a bit of life on the side. And frankly, I've been rubbish at that until now. One of my other great passions alongside running is camping. And a few weeks ago, Sean and I and a couple of pals went camping in the New Forest. So I'm going to tell you how that was and take you along with us. My background with camping, I didn't grow up going on loads of camping trips with my family or anything. I grew up in the south side of Glasgow, so a big city. And my mum and dad were not keen campers at all. So I don't have any young or early memories of camping. I'd say my first proper experience of camping was doing Duke of Edinburgh. If you're not from the UK, Duke of Edinburgh is essentially something that you do in school where you do good volunteer work and then it finishes off with a big camping trip essentially. Now I must say I didn't fall in love with it straight away, probably because as typical in Scotland, it was pissing with rain the entire weekend on Duke of Edinburgh, and yeah, just didn't take to reading a map as a natural, let's say. But now I love it, and every summer I will try and plan at least one camping trip. So as I say, a couple of weeks ago we set off to the New Forest. Now the New Forest is about 2 hours drive from London. It's the very south of England. Probably about nearest big city is Southampton. Now the campsite we stayed at was called Hollingwood Campsite. First impressions of it, it's just this big forested area. Beautiful trees all surrounding the campsite where you put your tent up, and then it's got this really vast open field essentially where there's loads and loads of horses. Absolutely, I didn't realise how many there were in this place, but it is just crawling with them. So if you like horses, it's the absolutely ideal place. Now, not that I'm a massive fan of horses, but they're one of them animals where if you don't come into contact with them regularly, you forget just how big and how majestic they can be. So we arrived Friday evening, and first thing as you do, or as you should do, you put up the tent straight away. I've learned that the hard way. Now, I will always say, putting up a tent with your partner is a great test for any relationship. You find out if they're a team player, you find out if you can communicate well. If you can get through that without any big arguments, you're a pretty strong couple. Now, one thing that I do like about camping is I like admiring the equipment that people have. I love turning up to a campsite and seeing what equipment other people have got, because it just adds new dimensions to how you can camp, how you can enjoy camping. Camping can be obviously whatever you want, but okay, you don't have to have, obviously, spend thousands of pounds on it and have tents on top of your car or big jeeps or anything. But it does, it's worth buying a comfy mattress, that's all I'll say. That dinner was lovely. Salad, perfection. So what is it to do in the New Forest? Well, the answer is there's a lot. You can go for walks, you can rent bikes, there's a river nearby that you can go swimming, do paddleboarding, there's even some water sports I believe. We kept it fairly simple and pretty basic. We just chose to explore on foot. The man at the campsite reception points us in the direction of these redwoods, which are apparently the tallest redwoods in England. So yeah, not gonna lie, pretty impressive. The walk there was lovely, taking you through, lush green forest. Again, coming past into nice open fields where horses are just grazing with their young, which is like just so nice to see, honestly. I think at times you probably take for granted being in a forest, and what I mean by that is like the UK can be a little bit barren, like even in particularly mountainous areas compared to perhaps a lot of European countries. I think we've cut down like so much of like our biodiversity, and when I compare it to other countries that I've been to on hiking holidays, like the amount of this country that's covered in forest isn't perhaps an awful lot. So yeah, just perhaps if that's something that interests you at all, then the New Forest was, yeah, very, very good for that. I think as well, being able to camp, you know, under so much tree cover and directly in a forest is quite a rarity, because I've been lucky to camp in some really nice places throughout my time, but often it's maybe under the cover of a mountain or in an open field, and very rarely has it been right in the middle of a forest, and I think you rarely get that opportunity in the UK. I think if I go back to kind of my experience camping and how I got into camping, certainly there was a stage where the only time I'd take out a tent or put it up is at a festival, but it probably wasn't until I moved down south from Scotland, which is a bit of a shame, that I really got into camping, and almost used it. When I came down south, I guess, like I said, I didn't know anyone initially, so I'd be a bit of a tourist in sort of the UK and go out to places that I hadn't been to before. And I guess camping is a way that you can do that as well. Just like you might go visit a big city like Manchester or London, why not go visit a national park and set up camp for a couple nights? Because don't get me wrong, often you need a car and that can be a big limiter for some, but with the New Forest, I do say you can get a train there. There's a train station that goes right through to Broadhurst, so in terms of accessibility, it's probably one of the more accessible camping areas within the UK. Now, on the way back from this redwood forest, we witnessed one of the most incredible things I think I've ever seen. A family of horses coming out of the bushes, and this wee foal, just as Shona says in the video, had the zoomies, started sprinting around the place, and it was, yeah, one of the nicest things that I think I'd ever seen. Like, you just felt like you were witnessing some form of kind of wild nature, I guess, if that's a way to describe it. Like, yeah, something that maybe hadn't almost been tainted by kind of man's intrusion, I suppose. Now, don't worry, you're not going to get through a whole video without me talking a little bit about running. So I'm going to show you how a little tester run went now. Alright, quick one. For those that maybe haven't been watching my recent videos, I've actually not ran all this week due to a small hamstring issue and a little bit of a hip issue as well. So just been cycling and swimming all week, a little bit of gym work, but I'm going to do a 15-minute run just to test it out really and see how we go. So yeah, little baby steps. Plan is to go for 15 minutes. I didn't realise how bobbly this was. I've just headed straight out. Look at this. Oh my god. I'm gonna head back. Definitely be sticking to grass for my first few runs back, I think. Just keep it nice and soft. We have been warned there's a stallion out here, which we've been told to avoid, so hopefully we don't run into him. I kind of want to run through there, but I'm not doing that. The mother will probably try and fly kick me if I go anywhere near its wee foal. Oh, so I've got to go over these wee bloody mounds. So cute. Oh, so cute, man. Oh, right, nice one. Just finished 15 minutes of running, really easy. Most of it on grass. Oh, bring out the sun there. Most of it on grass. Couldn't feel my hip at all, which is a big positive. Wouldn't say my hamstring in the back of my knee was sore, but I definitely knew it was there. So kind of what I expected, if I'm honest. Plan tomorrow will be to maybe do just another 15 minutes or maybe 20. Be careful, that could make the cut. Yeah, the important thing will be just to see whether my knee hurts any more than it did tomorrow. So yeah, fingers crossed. Now, for many people, camping and barbecues go hand in hand, and this was no exception. I don't need to explain how or why this is so good. However, one thing that I am passionate about is the camping beer. That beer that that first beer that you crack open while camping, perhaps whether it's with your food or waiting for the food to be cooked, is up there with some of the best beers you can have. The top 3 beers for me are the train beer, the camping beer, and the post-race beer, in that order. Happy for a bit of debate here, but all other answers are wrong, in my opinion. But if you want to tell me your top 3 beers, then by all means comment below. On to the next day. Decided to go for a team run through the big field. Appreciated the horses again. And then we took ourselves to Lymington. Now there's 3 towns in the New Forest. You got Lyndhurst, Broadhurst and Lymington. All very nice, kind of quaint English sort of towns, villages. Lymington being the biggest, right out by the sea. Nice place. Little bit of Brexit country vibe, if I'm honest, but yeah, it's I'd definitely go again. Got a lovely pub lunch there. And that sort of concluded our weekend, really. So, you know, there was a time when if you said to me out going camping but it wasn't wild camping, I'd have probably said no thanks. But as you get older, you realise there's no prizes for who can be the toughest and who can be the most extreme camper. And now I'm just like, who cares? It's just nice to be outside. That feeling of sort of being outside pretty much from morning till night, I just think it does good things for you, for people. And if you can have a shower as well along the way and that makes you feel a bit less grim, then that can just sometimes enhance the experience. So yeah, in summary, the New Forest is very nice. I hope it's not my last camping trip of the summer, and I would definitely go back to the New Forest. It would be a really good place to bring my bike, or hopefully when I'm fit again can do a lot more running there. So yeah, hopefully I can document a bit more camping and hiking and other more life, really. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this different little video. If you have, like and subscribe and everything, and I will see you in the next one, guys. Take care.